Welcome to Cardigan Chronicles, an original podcast from Herrick District Library in Holland, Michigan, featuring stories about life in the library, our community, and the world of books. We're your hosts. I'm Amanda, a youth services assistant.
And I'm Heather, teen librarian, and today we are going to be doing things a little bit different. We will be having a reference desk rumble, Battle of the Bookworms trivia game, and we will end with our book segment, Book Bites, with books that have a game featured. Today we have with us Vanessa, our collections development manager, and Lindsay, our public services manager. Thank you, Vanessa and Lindsay, for being with us today.
Happy to be here. Scared to be here, but it's going to be great.
It will be good. We're just playing a friendly game. No big deal. So this is the first time we've done a trivia game as part of our Cardigan Chronicles. So this is a different format for all of us. If you are listening, feel free to play along. So just a little bit of a rule overview and how to play, and feel free to ask clarifying questions. There are 6 categories, which we'll go over in a moment. When you answer, you don't have to answer Jeopardy style. Some of the questions I wrote kind of in Jeopardy style, and some of the questions I didn't. So if it feels natural to answer in the form of a question, that's fine. If it doesn't feel normal to answer in a form of question, that's okay too. You will ring in by saying your name. So the first person whose names we hear will be the person who gets called on to answer the question. Does that make sense?
Yes. Have to remember my name under pressure. I know.
I believe in you, Lindsay. I believe in you.
That'd be great.
So let's get to the categories. The first category is I saw it on Book Doc, where we're talking about books that you see on TikTok. Badly explained books, where we will describe a book poorly and you have to guess what the book is. Historical matters, where we're talking about the history of books or the library, not Herrick specifically, but libraries in general. Library headlines, where you are going to get a headline that was featured in a newspaper or news outlet from somewhere in the world, and you have to guess if that was a real headline or a line that I made up myself. Then we have the forbidden section, where we're talking about banned books, and Dewey or Decimal, where we are talking about books that you see in the Dewey Decimal section, aka nonfiction. To discover who's going to go first, by selecting a category, I would like to know which one of you was the last person to read a book about something historical. Real history, not historical fiction.
I just read a graphic novel that's called, it's a nonfiction graphic novel called what was it? It's like something about how the world ends. It's a new YA one we got, and it does go through the history of like plagues and stuff like that.
Okay.
Does that count?
If we can do graphic novels, I just did The Mythmakers.
Ooh. Okay.
But that was last month. When did you read yours?
2 days ago.
Okay. Vanessa?
She's already going to
no ability to compete here. The only thing that even slightly qualifies is I'm reading the new Kate Middleton biography, and it does have historical information, 15 years, 20 years.
Are you currently reading?
Currently reading.
I'm going to count that as most recent. So, Vanessa, you get to decide where we're going to start.
Okay. How about we go with the forbidden section for 200?
The forbidden section for 200. All right. What term describes the right to access information and ideas without censorship?
Did you say our name? Like Lindsay?
Lindsay?
Is this the right to read?
I'm going for something a little bit different.
Oh, okay. Vanessa, intellectual freedom.
And that is what I was going for. So that is 200.
I need some sound effects.
Ding! Vanessa, you get to select again.
Let's try library headlines for 400.
Library headlines for 400. Jackson County Library tracks down its first patron. Is that true or something that I made up?
Vanessa, I think that's true.
That is, in fact, false.
Oh, that was tricky.
I know. I was a little bit mean with the headlines because it was just a true or false question. But that one is not a real headline. But Vanessa, it is still yours.
Okay. Historical matters for 200.
Historical matters for 200. Crafted around 800, this illuminated tome is housed in Trinity College in Dublin, Ireland. Its intricate artwork, calligraphy, and condition after surviving over 1,200 years have led to its fame. What is this tome called?
Lindsay, I want to say it's The Secret of the Kells, but that's the movie based on the book. No.
I will take it because it's Kells. It is the Book of the Kells.
The Book of the Kells.
The Book of the Kells. And
so kind.
it's the Book of the Kells. It's good. Yes, fun fact, I have seen that book in person. It was so cool. And it was one of those, I went to Trinity with my mom and we went and saw the Book of the Kells and we did the whole exhibit. And before you get to the actual Book of the Kells, they have this entire exhibit about ancient bookmaking and how they go through the process and everything. That was
awesome.
So cool. But then you go upstairs and all of a sudden I was like, wait a second. I've seen this library before and it's like the quintessential old library picture that's like all the Google images.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting.
Is that like if I showed you a picture, you'd be like, oh yeah, I've seen that. It's Trinity. Lindsay, with the correct answer of Book of the Kells, where would you like to go now?
Let's stay in historical matters and do historical matters for 600, please.
Historical matters for 600. Which state had the first public lending library in the United States?
Vanessa?
Philadelphia?
Pennsylvania?
No.
Oh. Lindsay, Massachusetts?
Massachusetts is correct. I would have also accepted New Hampshire. It's technically Massachusetts because they gave out Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin gave a bunch of works and they donated it and he said everyone would have, and they decided everyone would have access. But the first library that was paid for with municipal funds and completely for the city that way was actually in New Hampshire. I'm sorry, it might have been Maine. I made a note. Let me check.
I would have thought Ben Franklin from Philadelphia. It would have been.
It was a trick question for you, but a great question for me from Massachusetts.
Yes. Okay. Well then, Lindsay, since you're on fire in historical matters, where would you like to go now?
I'm going to stay far, far away from book talk because I'm sitting next to someone who knows everything about book talk. Let's do badly explained books for 400.
Badly explained books for 400. A middle-aged man volunteers as a courier, takes about 6 months to deliver with the help of his friend.
We're all just staring at you. How do we feel about wild guesses?
You're welcome to, but you only get one. So a middle-aged man volunteers as a courier, takes about 6 months to deliver with the help of his friend. He was delivering jewelry.
Amanda, is it Lord of the Rings?
It is, in fact, Lord of the Rings.
Wow. What on Middle Earth?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Wow.
I didn't get it till you said jewelry, and then it clicked.
Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm not going to say the jewelry part because I feel like that gives it away, but I'll leave it as a backup just in case.
Should have gotten that reading Mythmakers,
Should've.
which is
It's like a
C.S.
failure.
Lewis.
All right, Amanda, you have control of the board. Where would you like to go?
Let's go. I saw it on Book Talk for 400.
No.
I saw it on Book Talk for 400. What critically acclaimed science fiction novel, later turned into a Hulu series, is about a dystopian society called Gilead?
Amanda,
Dang it.
Handmaid's Tale.
That is correct. It is Handmaid's Tale. I did try to give ones that I thought y'all would have a chance at. Amanda, where would you like to go now?
We're going to stay, and I saw it on Book Talk for 800.
I saw it on Book Talk for 800.
Feeling confident.
Yeah.
Huh?
In The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, what epic Greek poem is being retold?
Lindsay. Oh man, I'm going to get it wrong. Let's see. What is the Iliad?
It is, in fact, the Iliad, yes.
Nice.
That was from my training. I was trying to do like Rocky style training. I was like, what are all the books that could come up on?
All right, Lindsay, you have control of the board again.
Most excellent. I'm going to move away. I would like to go back to historical matters where I feel safe. Can we do historical matters for 800, please?
Historical matters for 800, yes. This Western country has the world's largest library.
Western country?
Like it's in the Western Hemisphere. I would accept, there's two different possible answers. I would either accept largest in number of items or largest in terms of size.
This is the country. It's okay. Vanessa, I'll just throw out. How about England?
England is the most book or items, and I will accept that as one of the answers. The British Library has approximately 200 million items cataloged, so I will accept that. However, the largest library is, in fact, the Library of Congress. We have over 175 million things cataloged, but they also have something like 823 miles of shelving.
Have you all been to the Library of Congress?
No.
Oh, it's
I have been to the Library of Congress.
There, yeah.
Yeah, Library of Congress.
What I think is interesting is that people from the United States, when we went through, the docent said the people from the United States love the Library of Congress, but people from Europe are like, meh, we got this all over the place. They come to Washington, D.C. or to the U.S. to see more modern buildings.
Uh-huh.
But
they're like, we've got historical things. And we're like, look at the history.
Look at the really young history and our pretty ceilings.
Yes. But no, we do have the world's largest library here.
Yay, us.
Yes. Vanessa, you have control again. Where would you like to go?
Let's hit Dewey or decimal for 200.
Dewey or decimal for 200. Where you're most likely to find the works of Shel Silverstein.
Amanda, in the 811s.
811s is correct. However, I forgot to tell you this. In this category, unless I ask for the specific number, I will happily accept the hundreds.
Excellent.
But yes, Amanda, that is correct.
I should have known that.
I was
Good old
on
Shel.
the cusp, but you beat me.
Amanda, where would you like to go?
Let's go back to book talk for 600.
We are going back to book talk.
There's only so many in that category.
Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard came under scrutiny on Book Talk for being remarkably similar to another YA romantasy, with people calling it a copycat. That is until people pointed out that it was published before this book.
Amanda, Powerless by Lauren Roberts.
That is correct.
It was published a long time before Powerless.
It was.
Interesting.
People don't look at publication years as close as they should sometimes.
No.
All right, Amanda, where would you like to go now?
Let's do book talk for 200.
Book talk for 200. This popular book talk romantasy is inspired by Beauty and the Beast with fairies.
Lindsay.
ACOTAR. It is, in fact, ACOTAR. And if someone doesn't know, can you tell us what ACOTAR stands for?
Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. By the way, she has 2 new books coming out this year, and everyone's freaking out about it.
All right. Lindsay, you are back in control. Where would you like to go?
Away from book talk. Back to historical matters.
Okay.
Can we do historical matters for $1,000, please?
We sure can. Historical matters for 1,000. This is the most frequently stolen book from libraries worldwide.
I know I've read about this, but I can't think of what it is.
Are there any hints? Can you give us a hint?
The subject itself does kind of involve things that can happen in the worldwide too. So there could be parts where there are people featured from places all over the world. And world is in the title.
Vanessa, the World Book Encyclopedia?
I'm sorry, that is incorrect.
Gosh.
Remember, it's stolen. Someone wants it.
Oh,
Sorry, Encyclopedia. I will also tell you, it's a nonfiction book that we keep both in the youth and adult sections.
Amanda, Guinness Book of World Records.
It is Guinness Book of World Records.
I don't know why I jumped in. I already answered. I got it wrong.
It is the most stolen worldwide. Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Because those are not things you could find anywhere else except in that book.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
All right, Amanda, you're back in control. Where would you like to go?
We're going to close out the book talk category for 1,000.
All right. Many book talk books have an HEA or a happily ever after, a phrase that first appears in the English translation of this not always so happy Italian book set during the plague.
That question took so many turns. Like,
Yeah. Italian book set during the plague.
I can think of many books set in the plague, which is an odd thing to say, but not Italian.
There's a genre now that I do not know.
The plague genre.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Italian book set in plague. Any other hints?
Um,
I keep asking for hints. I know that's not the point.
it's a 14th century Italian book
Oh.
that, well, it was rephrased. It was translated in the 14th century into English, and the Italian phrase was then translated as happily ever after.
I'm just going to do a guess. I don't even know if this is Italian. It might not actually. It might be French. But, Lindsay, is it Cinderella?
It is not Cinderella.
Are we along the same
Is it a fairy tale?
lines?
I don't know if it's a fairy tale, if I'm honest with you. Would you...
Can I phone a friend?
Hey, if you think someone out there is going to know. It's a 14th century collection of 100 short stories by Italian author Giovanni Boccaccio. It is framed around a group of 7 young women and 3 men who isolate themselves
Oh, no, I know it now. And
in a secluded
already
villa
ruined it.
outside
I've ruined
Florence.
I've ruined it. Can I guess again? Is it, I don't know if this is Italian, but is it the Canterbury Tales?
No,
Oh, okay.
That's Chaucer, right?
That's Chaucer.
that's Chaucer.
Oh, yeah.
Do we give up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have no idea.
It's called the Decameron.
Who has heard of
Wow.
this book?
There
Sure
is
that's
an
not in historical matters.
there.
Why is it on book
I'm not
talk?
gonna lie. I mostly did this one to watch Amanda go, "Oh no!"
That's so mean.
And
Can I ask, how did that come up on book talk?
because they talk about HEAs a lot, and so I got it from the tag HEA, yeah, and where the term happily ever after comes from.
Interesting.
There is a Netflix series, an 8-episode medieval dark comedy miniseries that's kind of about this, from what I have read. Yes.
Interesting.
So that was book talk for
learned
1,000,
something
where I
when
was
schooled.
purposely a little bit mean to Amanda, but also
I thought
thought
you
I'd
said you
give.
weren't going to be mean to us. Well, you can be mean
She
to
doesn't
me,
mind
but-
being mean to me.
I mean,
The whole category was mean to me.
I thought the historical bent might help the two of you.
You're right. Okay, great.
Okay, Amanda, you still have control of the board. Where would you like to go?
Let's go badly explained books for 200.
Badly explained books for 200. A high schooler goes to prom with an old man.
Ugh.
Wait. I mean, it could be, Vanessa, it could be like Twilight.
It is Twilight!
I loved it. It's an old man.
Okay,
Let's try that again at 600. Badly explained books.
badly explained books for 600. 11-year-old boy is really good at laser tag and then gets tricked into committing genocide by the government.
Amanda, Ender's Game.
It is Ender's
Oh.
Game, yes.
Let's do the forbidden section for 400.
The forbidden section for 400. Parents attempted to ban this children's book series from local libraries and schools. Author Barbara Park once said the first negative letter was from a grandmother in Minnesota who was annoyed that the main character had acted out and that she wasn't using the Queen's English.
Vanessa, could it be Junie B. Jones?
It is Junie
Oh,
B. Jones.
That's so funny. That's what I was thinking. Goes like that.
Mhm.
Why is that banned?
Because she wasn't using the Queen's English and was acting up with her parents.
Yes, I think that's what I've heard from people is a little disrespectful.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Interesting.
So,
Let's do the forbidden section for 6.
forbidden section for 600. True or false? Brown Bear, What Do You See? Was banned by a school district in 2010.
Lindsay, true?
That is true. The school board was rushed to make a decision, and they got Bill Martin Jr. mixed up with Bill Martin, who was a philosopher of some kind. I made notes, and my notes disappeared. But he was, in fact, so that's how Brown Bear accidentally ended up getting banned from a school district in Texas. Vanessa, Lindsay, you are in control of the board.
Well, let's just finish out historical matters, shall we, for 400?
Historical matters for 400. This French book is said to contain one of the longest written sentences containing 823 words.
Isn't there a new book that just came out that is all one long sentence? A patron showed this to me the other day, so I don't think it's that. So it must not be.
No.
I do actually, no, I can't remember the title, but I do believe there is one that is just one
Just
sentence.
one, which I could. I'm sorry, but I can't write. I
No.
cannot read that.
No.
My brain will hurt.
Apparently, I'm not very good at international
Yeah.
books.
I promise you have
No.
heard of this.
Okay, one more time with the question.
This French book is said to contain one of the longest written sentences containing 823 words. As an additional hint, it is also a musical.
Amanda,
Oh,
is it Les Mis?
It is Les Mis.
Oh, really? Longest sentences.
Victor Hugo. Needed a good editor.
Who does he think he is?
823 seems excessive.
Yeah.
Amanda, book
Let's
talk's gone.
Go. I know. Let's go the forbidden section for 800.
The forbidden section for 800. Feminist activist Gloria Steinman urged people to boycott this book because of its depiction of violence against women. Years later, her stepson Christian Bale starred in the movie adaptation of the book.
Amanda, is American Psycho?
It is American Psycho.
Was that the one he lost all the weight for?
I think
I
so.
think so, yeah.
Yeah, I
was
haven't seen it, but I remember him looking real skinny.
Uh-huh.
I don't think it's Little Women.
Probably not.
I
Amanda,
only knew that because my roommate in college made me watch the movie.
really?
Oh.
Was it
Yeah.
any good?
It's fine.
Was it very violent towards women?
I mean, he does kill a lot of women.
Oh, I mean,
So, yeah.
I mean, it does say psycho right in
Yeah.
the title, so it
Yeah.
makes sense. Amanda,
Let's finish out the forbidden section for 1,000.
the forbidden section for 1,000. Back in the mid-1990s, this children's book featuring a hard-to-find wandering protagonist was banned from New York and Michigan for an image of a wardrobe malfunction.
Vanessa, is it Where's Waldo?
It is Where's Waldo? Yes. There was a beach scene where she's sunbathing and her top slipped a little.
Oh.
But in the reprint in 1997, they fixed the malfunction.
The malfunction.
I actually had a book once returned, and it was a children's book, and it was beautifully illustrated. I think it was called The Yellow Balloon, and it had all sorts of scenes across time, and one of the scenes was a beach scene, and there was a little nude beach, very teeny tiny pictures, and someone had actually colored in a bikini on one of the people before they returned it.
That's funny.
Well, there you go.
Yes, we
Vanessa,
don't condone that.
No. Where would you like to go?
Let's do Dewey or Decimal for 4.
Dewey or Decimal for 4. Nonfiction is known for providing true information. Well, I'll accept this section.
Is it Vanessa? Is it the myths or the I mean, it's in the 30s. It's the
Folk
zeros,
tales and
the
things,
folk
yeah.
tales and the
Yes. It is in fact 398.2, which is folktales, myths, folklores.
Where you can find fairies and gnomes and
fairies and
mermaids.
gnomes. I was thinking
love
more
that
of the
section.
ones that were I got this wrong, obviously, but I was thinking more of the ones about Bigfoot and UFOs, and that's in the
mhm.
early aughts.
Yeah, that's
kind
in
of.
the 10
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
really early. Yeah.
Then I'm going to split the points between
Oh,
the two of you
Okay.
with assists from each other. Amanda, I will give you a bonus 100 points if you can tell us why folktale, fairy tale, and whatnot is in. You don't know why?
I mean, I probably learned.
Because it's culture and it's about cultural
sure.
traditions. And that's why our fairy tale section, I got used to explaining to children when I was a school librarian why 398.2 was a part of nonfiction. Maybe that's why I'm so experienced with that one. So, Vanessa, I'm going to let you pick again.
Let's keep going for 600 in Dewey or Decimal.
The 600s in Dewey is technology or applied sciences, often leaving some best friends confused as to why this subject is found here.
Best friends?
That is the clue word, yes.
Vanessa, is it the dogs? And I mean, the animals section, dogs, cats, 636-ish pets?
Yes,
Okay.
that is exactly it,
Oh.
because they're man's best friend.
Oh, I see what you did
Uh-huh.
there.
Thank you. Yes, many are confused why pets are in technology.
Yeah.
Vanessa, where would you like to go now?
Let's keep going. 800 for Dewey or Decimal?
This year marks the sesquicentennial of the Dewey Decimal System. So when did it start?
Say that word again.
Sesquicentennial.
Vanessa, is it 225?
Here's a hint. Sesquicentennial is 150 years.
Oh.
So what year?
So now we're doing math in here? What are you, a math teacher?
I used to be. I honestly thought the fact that this was the 250th anniversary would also help you figure it out.
No.
Because
I
it's
mean,
just 100-year difference.
Amanda, 1876.
And boom goes the dynamite.
I love it. We're all blinking at each other. Like, math on command.
Wait a minute.
Math on command.
Amanda's used to me making her do math occasionally.
No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's mean.
Well, no, all you need to know is that sesquicentennial is 150 years, that this year's the 200th anniversary, and that there's a difference of 100 between 250 and 150, and then 1776, 1876.
I wish I had some of your brain. Mine just goes, panic.
It made sense to me.
I remember a sesquicentennial celebration, but I couldn't remember if it was Michigan's or the U.S.'s and which ones. I was trying to think of which ages I had lived through.
When I lived in Idaho, it was the sesquicentennial, and I taught Idaho history that year. So I was like, oh, this is such a fun word.
Mhm.
Sesquicentennial.
Yes.
Amanda, you are in control of the board. Where'd you like to go?
Let's do badly explained books for 800.
A man fakes insanity to avoid his family problems, ends up actually going insane.
I wish people could see the
Would
look
you-
that we give each other when we're
Would
sitting here
you
in
like a
silence.
hint
I
word?
would
Yes.
like a hint word.
Shakespeare.
Lindsay, what is Hamlet?
That is correct.
Okay.
I just saw Hamnet. I should.
Hamlet, not Hamlet, Hamlet.
Lindsay, where would you like to go?
Oh my, let's see. Well, we don't have historical matters to fall back on anymore, sadly. We really haven't done a lot of library headlines, so let's do library headlines let's do 800. Why not? Feeling
Library
risky.
headlines for 800. Helen Hall library staff will no longer check library cards at the door.
Amanda, is that true?
That is true. There
I have
was
so many questions.
there was
That's-
there was a library that was apparently severely overcrowded, so they were checking library patrons
Huh.
to see if they had library cards before they would let them in the building, or let them
Wow.
use study rooms, or let
big is
them
the building?
participate in programs. And the only reason they stopped checking cards at the door was because apparently people got that they needed to have a card. So I don't know what's going on in that particular
People
library.
love that library.
Yeah.
We need a little of that juice. Let's talk them. Let's
Yeah.
talk to them and say,
Yeah.
hey, what are you guys
it's
doing
a
right?
tiny house library.
Okay.
I mean, just like teeny
Fire code kind of
Yeah,
situation.
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's go with your explanation. They love their library.
They love their library.
Yes.
I wish everyone loved their library.
That's
like
right.
that.
Yes. But just to settle everyone's fears, we do not check you for a library card to walk into this building. But
All are welcome.
all are welcome. But that was a real headline.
Interesting.
Amanda, where would you like to go?
Let's do library headlines for 600.
Woman, 74, poured mayo down library chute.
Lindsay, I'm going to say true because I have seen some strange things in library chutes.
That is true. A woman of 74 in Boise, Idaho, was pouring open containers of mayo, ketchup, and there was one other condiment, and they were calling her the condiment bandit.
She did not love her library.
She was arrested and sentenced to jail because there were a few other places around town that she was also condimenting. That she was having some beefs with, and that was her her revenge method. Yes, so that is
Condiments were for the beef.
I've had some very odd things in return bins from, books covered in pee. I think most libraries have had that situation. In Ann Arbor, we had occasional burritos because people would be eating their burritos down the street and think it's a trash can and throw half-eaten burritos in there. That was interesting. Yeah.
That seems like
so a little bit
Another
different than
burrito.
purposely
Seems
putting
so
ketchup
bad.
down the library chute. Yeah, so real headline. Where would you like to go now, Lindsay?
Oh, I forgot. Let's see. Wait, was that mine?
Yeah, you
Oh,
got it
I
right.
did that. Hey, wait, where were we even? I've lost track. That was 600 for library, right?
Headlines. yeah.
Headlines. Okay, awesome. Let's do, gosh, so much fun talking about book drops. Let's stay in library headlines. Let's do 200.
Library headlines for 200. New at the library. Check out houseplants.
Vanessa. Yes, that's true.
That is true. Yes. There are libraries that will check out actual houseplants that you can take home with you. And the library in particular that this article was from, they actually take plant donations and then they take some of them and they propagate them. And they also let people come and take little propagations of those plants.
I love that idea.
They started with, I think they said 9 plants, and now they've had like 274 or something like that. So
Awesome. I wish I had more of a green thumb.
Yeah. We have had really good success with our plant swap.
Yeah, plant swaps are great. Like
yeah.
we've had a lot of fun with that.
I have visited ones that had the little propagation stations and you could take them and it's really cute. It's very cute.
yeah. So that was a true headline.
Awesome. Well, let's finish that out at 1,000.
At 1,000. All right. Man, 61, tries robbing a bookstore. Turns out to be a library.
Well, you can't rob the library either. You at least need a card.
That's
Put
true.
that as a disclaimer.
Vanessa, I'm going to say that's true.
That is one I made up. I mean, I can see someone trying, but no, that is one I made up.
All right.
Vanessa, where would you like to go?
Let's finish up Dewey Decimal with 1,000.
What are the first 3 digits of the Dewey Decimal number for the sinking of the Titanic?
Amanda, 910.
It is 910.
I only know this because I just pulled Edmund Fitzgerald books and they're by
Yes.
Admittedly, I knew this one from school library days because of the number of children that were obsessed with Titanic books.
Yep.
And I'm like, let's go to the 910s. Here we go.
Those Titanic books get really used. They
They
get
do,
really kind
yeah.
of gnarly after a while. You have to keep
Mhm.
buying them.
It's so interesting how fascinated we all are by
Catastrophe.
catastrophe and just like we're so up in youth services. We're doing a battleship with Michigan shipwrecks. Amanda's been researching.
Oh, neat.
And some of the ones that she was telling me about, like I think we all know about Edmund Fitzgerald, but there was, which one was the one that?
I think it's the SS Eastland was a ship that was in a Chicago port and rolled over as people were getting on it and they got trapped in it and 844 people died on this boat. It hadn't even left the dock.
It
And-
rolled over?
Uh-huh.
How does that even work?
So there
Explain the physics.
well in
Explain
the the ship was older and it had problems with stability before that. And they were like, it's fine. We're just going to let 2,000 people on this ship that's not very stable. And it rolled over.
Wait, is this the one where the people were going on a trip, like a work trip? Like,
Yeah.
like it's supposed to be a fun day for work. It was
Oh my goodness.
chartered or something for the day.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Maybe you remember that for next death and service. No boat trips, please.
Not on unstable boats.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Wow, that got dark
It
fast.
did. It did.
I hope badly explained books
Yeah.
for 1,000 is going to be great because that's the last
the last
one. Is it
one,
upbeat?
yes.
No.
Okay. First hint.
A real estate agent and his wife consult professional help in their fear of close contact with a dead body.
Can you repeat, please?
A real estate agent and his wife consult professional help in their fear of close contact with a dead body.
I think we're all stumped.
Some might call it an undead body.
Oh, is it the Mary Jane Davison? No.
Nope.
I have a feeling this has something to do with either zombies or vampires, but real estate you really got me
Mhm.
stuck.
Oh, it's not the Sookie Stackhouse books. No.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'm just going through all
Real
this,
estate
but-
agent.
It
Let's see.
is an older book.
Is it an Anne Rice?
The Interview with a Vampire.
No.
Now I'm just hitting all of my vampires.
I don't
I
know why
will
they would
say
have been real estate agents,
the
but-
professional help does have a real beef with the undead one. This particular doctor.
Is it Dracula?
It is Dracula.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
because they consult Dr. Van Helsing.
Uh-huh.
I'm still stuck on real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently the guy and his wife, the guy was,
Real
was
estate.
apparently a real estate agent, yeah.
Oh.
So
Remember that from our college reading.
Yeah.
I will admit I haven't actually read Dracula.
Did in college. It was
Uh-huh.
clearly don't remember that detail.
So pretty
Fun.
yes. Let me take a moment to tabulate some scores.
Oh.
Oh, they're actual schools. Okay.
She's
I know
keeping
there's
track.
numbers, but I should know that. Heather would do the numbers.
Heather would
For sure.
never leave the numbers
No.
out.
And again, I wasn't too mean. I did throw a couple of curveballs, but I wasn't too mean. And the ones that
It
I
was
knew,
fun.
It was
Thanks
yes.
for letting us play with you.
yes. And admittedly, the ones that were mean, I knew were mean.
That's half the battle right there.
Yes. So in first place, it was Amanda.
Of course it
Mhm.
was. We knew that going into this.
Yes.
In second place, it was Lindsay. And in third place, it was Vanessa.
Let's not share the numbers. Let's just leave it at that.
I'm going to leave it at that. Yes. So
I
thank
enjoyed
you.
playing with you all.
Yes.
Me too.
Thank you for indulging my reference book, my reference rumble, reference this rumble, Battle of the
again.
Bookworms. Yes. Well, we'll have to do it again. But let's move on to our book bite segment of the day, where today we're going to be talking about, since we played games, we're going to talk about a book that features a game. Amanda, would you like to tell us about the book that you are going to talk about today?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about Warcross by Marie Lu, which is a YA dystopia about a girl. It's like set in a future where they have this like video game tournament that runs a lot of things, and she accidentally hacks her way into the video game, and I think she wins it, and she ends up getting pulled into this secret underground society, and learning about what like the goings on behind the video game. So if you like things like Ender's Game, it's a good read alike for that. If you like video games, dystopia, and teens ruining the bad structure of society.
Thank you. Lindsay, what about you?
Well, I speed read one of the last Hunger Games because I was going to do that one, but then I was afraid Amanda was going to do that. So then I switched. I pivoted. So instead, I'm going with, I decided to go with a game show direction, a romance game show. The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren, which Fun fact, actually 2 authors with one name. I learned that this week. That's fun.
I learned that right now.
They're a team, and that's great. So basically, it's about a romance writer who begrudgingly agrees to go on like a bachelor-style dating game show, where they all the men that are on the show are based on based on romance tropes. So the heroes are like, I mean, if I remember correctly, there's like the Scotsman, and then there's the bad boy, like all the tropes from romance novels. But, turns out sparks fly, but not with one of them. And I don't want to spoil it for anyone. Since it is a romance, I'll let you know that there are some fun tropes involved. So we have forced proximity, forbidden love. It is open door romance. I would say maybe spice level about 3. And we have the grumpy to her sunshine trope, which is really fun. It is very funny, a dual POV. And if you want some comparisons, we have Emily Henry. It's a pretty good comparison. Allie Hazelwood, perhaps. I don't know how to say this author's last name. Is it Abby Jimenez? Does anybody know? Is it Jimenez or Jimenez? Jimenez. Those are kind of good comps for this level of romance. It was a good time. I read it a while ago, but it was fun and very memorable to me.
Obviously.
Again. It did.
Lovely.
What about you, Vanessa?
I brought 2 books just to be insufferable.
Love it.
The first is called The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. And it is like a competition game. And it had a kind of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory vibes, where the main character is a young woman who is a teacher's aide. And she is kind of struggling with feeling alone. And she has a student who has lost both his parents, and she'd really like to adopt him, but she doesn't have any money. Enter Jack Masterson, who is the famous and reclusive author of the Clock Island series.
Of course.
And he has come out of seclusion to publish a new book in this ragingly hot series after about 6 years of just dropping out of public view. And he has decided for the launch, he is going to invite 4 no longer children, but people who had been big fans of the Clock Island series as children who had reached out to him to come and do a competition for the original manuscript, which is worth lots of money. So basically it's the competition story, but it's got a lot of things that people would like. The game aspect, there's a little mystery, there's a touch of romance, and the ability to cheer for the underdog, who just needs a little help in life to feel like things are going a little better. So that's The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. And then I brought The Puzzler by A.J. Jacobs. And this is a nonfiction book. A.J. Jacobs is an immersive journalist. He does all sorts of stunts, for lack of a better word, and then writes about them. So he read through the entire Encyclopedia Britannica. He tried to adhere to all of the things in the Bible over the course of like a year, just do all the different things that are in opposition to one another. So he tried to do that. This one is actually about how he tried to understand the benefits of doing all sorts of different puzzling. So Sudoku, crossword puzzles. So you meet a lot of people along the way who are learning about concentration and mental flexibility and all the things that come out of being puzzlers. So he's a funny read. And the concept's kind of different. You get to meet lots of different kind of quirky people who love puzzling.
Does he also mention what puzzles he plays and how you can play them too?
I haven't read this one.
Okay.
I've read his other stuff, but I can't say he has actually said. He does talk about his particular, like the things he likes to do. And I think he was a puzzler to begin with, which started the whole thing. But yeah. He's fun.
Right. My summer blog is about puzzles.
Oh,
it's about we were at my last teen program, we were talking about, like Wordle and connections. And then I started talking about some of the other daily brain games that I like to play. And it turned into, where do you find these? And so my summer blog is all of my favorite daily puzzle games.
That's fun.
Yeah. So
you also through your through our Press Reader app, you can do the New York Times puzzles.
And I have that mentioned in my blog.
So yeah, if you have your Herrick District Library card and you get the Press Reader app, you can do all sorts of different puzzles that change up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well done. Well delivered. Well
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. It's very handy. Well, the book that I'm talking about today is Very Dangerous Things by Laura Munoz, and it is a YA mystery thriller / kind of dark academia. So the premise is the main character, Dulce, she goes to this charter school that's all about criminology, essentially. So there's like a forensics track, a criminal psychology track, and just like all the different things you can do within criminology. And at their school, they have this big game every year where someone is murdered, but not actually murdered. And then they have teams that have different tracks of criminology. People work together to solve what the crime would be. And typically they do ones that are either based off of old files, or they use that as inspiration for coming up with how they solve this game. So they're getting kind of real life experience on how to solve these crimes. And this year it's her ex-best friend's boyfriend is the one who's murdered, but instead of it being an pretend murder, he actually gets murdered. So then it's her and her best friend and a couple other people working together to try to solve this actual crime of who murdered her ex-best friend's boyfriend. And if you like the book The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, it's a good read-alike for that. Or if you're just into kind of the criminology mystery, it's hard to say it's a fun one when it's murder, but it's a fun one.
The hottest high school in the nation. Somebody gets murdered every year.
Yeah. So Very Dangerous Things is one that I would recommend. But I would like to thank the three of you for indulging me in playing a game today.
Oh, thanks for inviting us.
Yeah.
Yes. I also want to point out how interesting it was. We all had to bring a book about a game, and we took it very different directions.
Yes.
From The Bachelor to Murder High School.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. That's kind of the beauty of the books, though, is like it can go anywhere. So again, especially since we haven't done a video game format before, thank you for doing this with us. And thank you for sharing your book games. If anyone would like recommendations, always reach out to us. We're happy to talk to you about book recommendations. And if you played along to our game at home, feel free to come tell us how you did. Thanks for listening.